Guys, this is a Space Marine Assault Squad. I would dare say you could maybe even use these for Vanguard veterans, so you'd have to use the backpacks for Vanguard veterans. For me, Assault Squads get used, but a lot of the time they don't get used in the correct fashion. They get sent forward and they die something fierce because they get jumped out on the open ground, or they end up getting wound up and fighting somebody that they shouldn't really fight. But I think they're a tactically useful unit if I wouldn't drop them on the floor. So we'll look what we get in the box. That seems to be all. As per usual, we have our bases, which you'll really want to see. We have our transfer sheet, which as per usual, we can never have enough of these. We have our instructions on how to build a squad, how to build each guy, which the instructions are always handy. You know, even for these little guys, mistakes can be made as we're not all infallible. Just instructions how to build a regular guy and instructions on how to build the sergeant. In this box you get 5 Marines basically. You get 5 sets of legs here. All very similar. A couple of plasma pistols. With a normal Marine box, for every 5 guys you have in the unit, 1 guy can have a plasma pistol or a flamer. I believe a plasma pistol's 15 points and a flamer's 10. There's pros and cons with both of them. The pistol being able to kill you, but also being able to take a vehicle down. Then the flamer being able to crispify quite a few guys at the one go. And if you build some of the upgrade ones for these, in the different army books, in the Blood Angels book, and even in the Space Wolves book, you can have every guy with a plasma pistol depending on what units you're giving them to. So it is good that we get a couple of pistols rather than just the minimum 1. We have some other bits and bobs here, some little pack bits and whatnot. A knife, always handy. Some multi-bombs, the sergeant can take multi-bombs. We have some more of the little ammo pack type things here. All along here we have ammo packs. Chain swords. The chain swords here are handy because there's 3 of them for the left arm and 2 of them for the right arm, which is handy because you want them to be interchangeable. And we have all our pistols. In the Marine book they come, I believe, with pistols. I know in the Space Wolf book they come with pistols and chain swords, so they are good in the old combat. They are, and it's not a bad looking old sprue. You can tell these are the slightly older sprues they are, but they're still perfectly good. Here we have just our bodies and our backpacks. All the same backpacks. Would have been nice to have a little variation in them. You know, if I was trying to use these for my wolves, I would be trying to hunt out a few wolfy bits to stick onto these. Here we have our bodies, back and front, all very similar, except there's a couple that's slightly different. You could use one of them, maybe this one or that one for the sergeant. Here we have some more little packs. They look like your little grenades. They look very Second World War grenades. We have the pointy. Oh, I lose focus when I go up there. We have the pointy helmet and we have the regular helmets. Personally, for me, it's pointy helmet all the way, and we have all our shoulder pads along here on our second sprue. And getting on to our last sprue, which is good, which is handy. We have all our jump packs, all 5 of them here. Each guy in the unit obviously has to have a jump pack, and if you put a character in the unit and he hasn't got a jump pack, then your jump packs are pointless. We have our sergeant's shield, sword, power fist, power weapon. That would be very wolfy type power weapon there. It would, and we have our different bodies. I presume these might be for the Vanguard veterans you could use these for, and different backs. And we have a few more helmets here. I would say this head without a helmet's a sergeant. Pistol, hand for it. All in all, tidy sprues, guys. No great issues with them. This last sprue's of a different variety than the other 2, but that's just me being picky. But yeah, guys, tactically useful, but you have to be careful with them. I think a lot of the people get the thing where these guys move quite fast to get them into the combat early, where really, for me, it's taking your time and get them into the correct combat rather than the fastest combat. But I'll get on. I'll try and get some of these jumping guys built, and we'll get to see what they look like in the second half of this video. Guys, these are my assault marines, or I just usually call them jump pack guys. These are very useful, especially in a Blood Angels army, even though I don't like the red buggers. This is basically what your guy comes looking like. Regular guy with a big pack on his back with a bolt pistol and a chainsword. Having the bolt pistol and the chainsword is giving them that +1 attack in the combat. So they're getting 2 in every round of combat rather than 1, which is there's no downside to that at all. We have 1, 2, 3 guys, just exactly the same. In each unit, if you have up to 5 guys, you can upgrade one guy to have a flamer or a plasma pistol. So I just took plasma pistols because it's plasma week. I don't know why it is, I'm just a fan of plasma this week. Here's our plasma pistol guy. Obviously, plasma pistol has its uses: 12-inch shot, strength 7, AP 2. Can backfire on you and kill you, but the odds of killing you aren't as bad as what they used to be now. So it is useful. I don't know, a flamer for these guys, if used correctly, I would take a flamer, but if used incorrectly, the way the book tells you to use them, I wouldn't bother. And here is our sergeant. Our sergeant has a combat shield, is the old helmet. Big fan of the old helmets. We want more of them in our box sets, and it has a power weapon. I had to take the big axe looking thing because it's wolfy, basically. But yep, guys, that is basically what you get in the box. They all go together easy enough, painted by numbers, all the rest. But the thing with them, guys, the box tells you, or the book tells you all about fly these guys forward, get them in the vanguard of your army. For me, that's not how they're used. For me, they're more of a light cavalry type unit, if you know what I mean by fantasy terms. Their maneuverability is their advantage. You want these flying around and fighting the Devastators. You don't want these flying forward and getting shot down by the entirety of the opponent's army. Against the likes of Imperial Guard or whatnot, you'll see the guardsmen will shoot at these frag and crack grenades. You're going to be blowing up his vehicles. Ideally, unit size 10, probably. Max them out at 10. I think it's 100-ish points for 5 of them. Max them out at 10. Get that second weapon. Second flamer, always, guys. Plasma pistols, they are useful, but they're a missed distraction, really. It should be 2 flamers, 10 of these guys. If you can get the likes of a Space Wolves, can get a cheaper HQ guy stuck in there. The likes of the Wolves ones aren't as good as the bog standard Marines. Get a cheap-ish HQ in there with a jump pack and a power weapon. You don't have to give them too much kit, and get these guys, keep them in your army, not away out running around like Cypress Hill by themselves. You want them in your army, that whenever the crunch comes in the battle, these guys have the maneuverability to get to where the action is, rather than normal guys moving and running and panting and sweating and all the rest. You want the huge advantage of these guys is not the weapons, it's not the pistol, it's this jump pack on his back is the advantage. It's the tactical advantage of getting moved about. If you face an all-vehicle army, it's the tactical advantage of being able to move across the board at a good speed and get to them vehicles and soften them up. If you're taking a power fist on your sergeant, ideal. Thunderhammer, ideal, if you have that option in your own particular book. So for me, they're light cavalry. They're not heavy cavalry. It's going to run across the board and smash everything in front of it. They're the guys that move around the sides and come in, and just as the enemy's just about holding his own on the front, these guys come in from the side, from the rear, and make the difference to break that unit that you have to break. Obviously, you may have your own opinions on this. and you can stick some comments in below, guys. Do you use these as cannon fodder? These guys for me are too useful to be cannon fodder. Use regular Marines for cannon fodder, use Rhinos for cannon fodder. These guys have huge tactical advantages that your normal Marines don't have. Stick in your comments, guys. Tell me if you agree with me, and if you don't, and I'll get on to another video.